max of them today. I think we're going to do a great job.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Modern Man Podcast, where we are on a mission to connect men in pursuit of their potential. Now, join us as we embrace discomfort, cultivate community, and put wind in each other's sails. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast if you really want to take your growth to the next level. To the fellas that are watching you, I encourage you to join the Noble Knights group. That's where you can find the support, accountability, and the mentorship you need to achieve your goals. Join us and become a part of a community of like-minded men on a mission to improve themselves and elevate their capacity for life. Now, I'm excited because we're going to get some wind in our sails from my guest today, consultant and founder of Booze Vacation, Clifford Stephan, joining us on the podcast. Clifford, thank you so much for taking the time.
Ted, stoked to be here. Thanks so much. And yeah, I love your mission, and it aligns a lot with what we're doing as well. So super stoked to have this conversation.
Absolutely. Likewise. And I can't wait to share some of the work that you're doing and the story with our audience. But first, I want to step out of the way, Clifford. I want to give you the microphone, give you the show, and allow you to speak to the people directly. A little bit about your story, your background, and then we could jump into more of the work you do with Booze Vacation and unpack a little bit more details as well.
Sure. Yeah. So, yeah. Kind of like a lot of guys' stories, started drinking in high school with my buddies, played a bunch of sports, played water polo, soccer, tennis, and yeah, had a hell of a time and misadventures and got into college and, got a degree and goofed off with the buddies and picked up, still had some great parties and took that into corporate America. And so, yeah, it's really kind of part of our culture and identity and how we roll. And I was always about, having a good time, and whether that's at events and things like that. I got a degree in nutritional science, and like I said, I was always kind of a health nut and really into my fitness, and was not looking to get smarter with my drinking. It was a proven model; everybody was doing it. We're having a great time, but did kind of into my later 30s, early 40s, kind of started to see some indications that things weren't where they needed to be. And so, kind of used my degree, and I had founded a consulting business in Silicon Valley, designing employee and executive compensation plans for pre-IPO tech companies. So I had a groovy business and a young family, and it was all about kind of this high octane lifestyle of kind of hitting it on all cylinders. And that was definitely kind of starting to slip a little bit in my later 30s, early 40s, kind of started picking up some sleep issues and some bad blood work and some related wear and tear that I was diligently trying to address with my degree in nutritional science and resources and supplements, and kind of begrudgingly kind of threw in the towel a little bit later in my 40s, and decided to sack up. I was kind of inspired to take a break by this 4-hour Audible book I listened to called Alcohol Lied to Me. And it was really compelling. I think, guys really enjoy booze, and we don't really have very meaningful conversation when it comes to kind of some of the negative effects and some of the insights. I don't think there's really a lot in our echo chambers that I've been able to really find. And so I was inspired to take a break and found that all of the kind of health practices and protocols I was using actually work great. They were just kind of out of sequence, and kind of had to put the bottle on the shelf for a bit for them to work. And it was just super transformational. Kind of like later in my 40s, like things started really kind of firing on all cylinders. And I really felt like I found the key to happiness and the fountain of youth, and my performance and mood and sleep apnea, all my kind of stuff, just kind of everything just got easier and better. And so I was super pumped on it. And had all these buddies that drank like fish and, or whatever, to varying degrees. And I wasn't telling them to not drink, but I'm like, hey, check out this Audible book. It's pretty eye opening and it's pretty entertaining. The guy's pretty funny. And my buddies were just kind of like, nah, that's cool, man. I'm good. And like, I couldn't really even have that conversation. There was just such a lack of, of interest in that field. And so it's like, okay, well, I think I know where this is headed. As pre-disease becomes more chronic disease states, because I have that degree in nutrition. I know the body, and I know what I was able to do in spite of that. And so I was pretty concerned about my buddies, and it was kind of like nobody was really addressing it. So I'm like, all right, somebody needs to be the asshole here, kind of talking about it. And so I founded Booze Vacation. And when I was taking my 1-year break, my buddies were like, hey, why aren't you drinking? I kind of coined the phrase kind of just out of necessity. I'm like, nah, I'm on a booze vacation right now. and it made them laugh, and they kind of didn't know what the hell that was, but it was kind of enough kind of to kind of throw them off. So that's kind of how I leveraged it initially. And so it's really it's really become kind of a men's health and wellness play to really kind of just bolt down your health and your performance and enjoy the ride. I think a lot of guys that have found success, you kind of do it a little bit at the expense of your health and some of these, some of these, healthier habits as, you're grinding on your business. And I think it's hard to reset. And so that's kind of what we're all about, kind of having a kick-ass life. We don't serve alcoholics, so we don't have to like push sobriety or point any fingers, but it's this kind of really practical, common sense health protocols when it comes to healthy habits that alcohol is really great at dysregulating.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I want to start with the fact that you coined the phrase booze vacation, because for a lot of men, we are very decide, execute, commit type people. And it's an all or nothing, right? Like we're all in or all out. So when we think of, alcohol, it's not like, oh, let me take a break. It's no, I'm giving this up, or this is done. So, and usually it's the level of commitment to either do or never do something again that increases the barrier of entry of us even making that commitment in the first place, right? It's like, okay, if I'm going to decide to put the drink down, am I never going to touch this again? Or is this a just right now? So I'm interested into how the framing started for you when you decided to take your break. And I believe it ended up being a year-long break, where you're like, okay, I'm on a booze vacation. How did that initiate? Was it something that you knew was going to be a year to start? Were you just like, hey, let me do a couple weeks, and then it spiraled from there? What was the time frame reasoning and how it came about?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, me and my buddies that drank socially, we would address our alcohol issues the way that everybody did. We'd cut back, we'd do dry January, and then come Super Bowl Sunday, we were right back at it, kind of making up for lost time. And so that was kind of our little game that we played. And I think the beer commercials are all selling us the same fairy tale, drink in moderation, your drinking is okay, don't worry about it type of thing, as long as you got your job and your family, everything's fine. But, clearly that didn't work. And so when I read Alcohol Lied to Me, or listened to it on Audible, that is, I was like, okay, yeah, it's time. It's like kind of expletive. I really need to take a real break here. And so I'm like, I'm going to do a year. Like I said, I have a pretty good database of, my life with it. And so it was really important because it really kind of forces you to get a game plan and to play offense and not sit there and mope around watching the clock like you can do with these shorter breaks. And I didn't know at the time, but once the science came out a couple of years later with Andrew Huberman's podcast on alcohol, he basically talks about how your brain gets, even 4 or 5 servings of alcohol a week on a regular basis is going to really rewire your brain for high stress, high anxiety, low mood, and lack of discipline and impulse control. So it's really tricky to navigate the substance that you're kind of like physically and emotionally dependent upon, where then you'll find it everywhere. And it's weird if you're not doing it. And so you perpetuate it, and it kind of kicks the shit out of your physiology. And you look up 10 years later and you have all this like bad blood work and all these issues. So I knew, but I didn't know it at the time. But yeah, I backed into, or the sweet spot. And booze vacations are basically 3 months to 12 months. And it's, guys can choose their own adventure, but it is a little bit dose dependent, and it's ultimately about what you want. But the longer the break, the longer the runway you have to kind of stack as many gains as possible and really get after it, and really kind of, when it comes to your fitness and your business and your relationships and your personal development, it's really about stacking the wins so high that when your vacation's over, you're like, cool, I'm going to keep this. And, maybe I'll go back to a little bit here or there, but you're going to drink less and for different reasons. And it's not like there's not like other vices out there that you can employ. Again, you can kind of dink and dunk with other stuff. There's nicotine gum, there's CBD, there's different stuff. So it's not about, and it's not about trading one vice for the other, but alcohol is definitely the master switch that you have to turn off, or again, you don't have the discipline, and it's shrinking your prefrontal cortex. It's creating a leaky gut. It's creating chronic inflammation. You're just pissing up wind with your physiology as your age. There's just no way you're going to get a handle on your health and performance with regular alcohol use. I don't care what type of healthy protocols you're employing. You're just not, because you're just dysregulating too many systems all at once. So that's kind of the quick and dirty lesson that I learned the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like, you can't outwork your diet. You almost can't out health you're drinking. And to your point with the research you mentioned with Huberman, there's actually a study published in the Lancet 2018 that found no amount of alcohol is safe for health, as it contributes to over 60 disease conditions, including liver disease, cancer, and cardiovascular issues. Now, you mentioned the difference that you felt over that year-long break, that booze vacation. And I love that you mentioned guys can pick your own journey, like those Goosebump books that back in the day where you pick the next page, you choose your own journey. I always died in those books. So I'm looking forward to a booze vacation where I don't have to come to my demise at the end. But you mentioned the benefits that can come about it. And I loved what you said earlier of noticing friends with maybe some issues and pre-disease that a lot of us, right? If it doesn't hurt, I'm fine. If the check engine light's on, I might ignore it for a little bit, but until I hear the rattle, then I know it's a problem. Guys are like that. So we could have an ache that we ignore for years, or we might not be operating as optimal as we used to. And as you mentioned, we might have all the routines, the health protocols to just keep the body moving, but we're losing on the back end. So what are the health benefits that you noticed going through your year-long break?
Yeah. And again, like I said, I think from a holistic health and performance perspective, it's important to get at 100%. And I think the average dude that's been drinking 15, 20 years, it's, kind of getting into the 30s or 40s, they're easily hovering at that 50 to 60% level. And I can tell you that because one or two drinks can lower your sleep quality by 30 or 40%. That's going to dysregulate your hormones. That's going to frazzle your brain and your memory consolidation, your energy levels, whether and all these micro decisions around your diet and lifestyle. And 9 out of 10 leading causes of chronic disease are diet and lifestyle related. So it's really kind of a predictive path. And so I think it's important to kind of see the forest through the trees. And like I said, I think it's easy to blame the bad blood work on genetics or your boss or getting older. But the reality is, in this day and age with technology and everything we have at our fingertips, if you're aging and you're getting older and you're picking up prescriptions, you're a sucker. It's bottom line. You are there's the simple health protocols that are very easy to do that you can easily address this stuff. Or you can kind of conversely, play whack-a-mole with your doctor and your pharmacist and your checkbook and kind of address these one-off issues, but never address root cause issues, which is what we do. And so it's really kind of just about kind of taking a holistic approach and some responsibility for your health versus this kind of like playing dumb. And the reality is when you're playing dumb with your alcohol use, it does force you to play dumb with your health as well, because why is it going down so quickly? Why is the doctor hassling you about, hey, you need this prescription? It's because, alcohol is really accelerating age and disease. It's very predictive. And I think guys, they want to hit the gym. They want to go grab a kale salad here and there and try to paper over it. But the reality is it's just age and wear and tear and bad diet and lifestyle is very predictive, and nothing good is going to come of it.
If iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another. But if you're a man and you're alone or listening to this, then who sharpens you? What's going on, guys? Ted Phaeton here, host of the Modern Man Podcast, also founder of the Noble Knights Mastermind Group. And I'm just out here encouraging you to find your circle. Maybe you're on a personal growth journey and nobody around you understands the new mentality that you're possessing. That's okay. You can find an online community that will pour into you, will navigate your goals and navigate your obstacles, share their experiences, resources, and more. Join the Noble Knights Mastermind Group and try us out for free to tap into a community of men helping each other scale up and reach their goals.
Check out themodernmanpodcast.com. You mentioned very briefly just really the advantage that we lose out on, the competitive edge that we lose out on. What is the competitive edge to someone who's on a booze vacation? Let's say me and a coworker, we're very equal performers, and then this upcoming year, they decide they're going to go on a booze vacation, and we're very performance based. What are some of the differences that we might notice at the end of that year between my output and their output?
Yeah, and sorry, I think I kind of skipped over your direct question around the benefits that I got, but yeah, it was really just about looking, feeling, screwing better, more money, easier, better performance on the field, better groove with the family, and to clarify, kind of any jerk can not drink for 3 months or 6 months and mope around, and they're still going to have these dysregulated systems. They're still going to have kind of bad diet and lifestyle that they've been doing for the last 10 or 20 years. So that's why our protocol is really about kind of knowing where you're at, assessing where you're at, and then really kind of making intentional inroads. And since you're not actively dysregulating these key systems of health, with simple health protocols around, going to bed on time and eating some good protein in the morning, moving your body, getting some walks, lifting weights, working on personal development with all this extra time, money, and energy you have, you can really get some amazing gains. But it's going to be dose dependent. It's going to be dependent upon the dude and what they want and where they started. But, like I said, you name anything that a guy wants or anything a guy doesn't want, and I can give you 10 direct lines on how alcohol's negatively affecting that. It's your brain, it's your decision, it's your identity, it's your gut health, it's your inflammation levels, it's your blood work, it's your drive and motivation, it's the size of your prefrontal cortex where you make all your decisions, it's your impulse control, it's your testosterone levels, which is your drive and your performance and your libido and the ability to do hard things. So it's like, man, it's easy to get soft and lazy and doughy and puffy. And and guess what? Fat is also estrogenic. So it's like dad bods, man boobs, like all this stuff is like, it's pretty catastrophic to guys. And so, and then on the flip side, you can kind of align all those stars on the other side as well and start sleeping well, start eating well, like, kind of, have a good mindset, get your body what you need, and you could really make some amazing gains. So it's really a land grab, and you can get all you want. And that's what we do. We're good at it. We can kind of help you kind of hit the ground running, but you got to have a plan. You have to play offense, and you got to do a lot more than just not drink. But you will have a lot more time and money and energy to do so. And so it's really about just a land grab and stacking the gains as high as possible.
Yeah. I feel like the evidence is clear, right? And if we haven't added enough evidence into exhibit A, B, C, and D for the court, one last piece of research is from Psychology Today, which highlights that even low-level drinking impairs sleep quality, reducing cognitive function, decision-making, and productivity. So there is clear evidence through studies, through research, and really all over podcasts, not just this discussion that you and I are having, which is informing men of the negative impacts that drinking can have. Yet we still reach for the bottle. We still reach for that beer at the end of a long day. You mentioned the root causes, and I want to touch on that before we get into some of the protocol that you approach with Booze Vacation. But you mentioned doing some of the root cause work. What has your experience been with some of the guys you've worked with, the root cause of why they keep picking up the bottle, even though the evidence clearly shows this does not help us?
Yeah, I just think it's inherent in the system. I think we have a shared operating system and identity and nostalgia around a very kind of complex substance. Like I said, I think a lot of us have some really fun memories in high school and college, and we still want to be that same dude in high school and college, causing hell and having fun and going on misadventures. And so I think it's a little tricky to kind of get your brain around doing something that that there's a really strong association with, fun friends, events, and a reward system. And it's on every channel. The world's most beautiful people are hawking it on the regular, the $10 billion ad spend. It's like, yada, yada, yada. And so, but the reality is, it's like, do you want to buy the beer commercial or do you want to live the beer commercial? And we're living the beer commercial because we have our health and performance where we want it. We still have the flexibility to have a beer when we want it. There's edibles, there's other stuff. But if you're not going to reset your alcohol, if you're not going to take responsibility for your health, if you're not going to learn how to have fun and enjoy life without it, you have a very predictive path. And it's definitely not what the beer commercial promises, probably more like what the Viagra commercial promises.
So, what does it look like? This Viagra clip is going to be my favorite clip to share, by the way. What does it look like?
And we like to talk a little shit at Booze Vacation because that's how dudes relate.
That's all it is, man. That's what it's all about. If you want to wake up with a stiffy, take yourself a Booze Vacation.
That's right.
What does it look like for guys who start their Booze Vacation? Because I could imagine for somebody where drinking is embedded in their lifestyle, They could be a sales professional. They could be a business owner, and their networking events happen at happy hour at the bars. Their dinner parties, they have wines coming to the table. If they're a sales professional, the potential clients they usually take to the bar and they're getting drinks. So you mentioned really the nostalgia, the physiology, and really how this is embedded into our lifestyles. So really, one barrier of entry someone might be listening to, they say, "Hey, listen, Clifford, I'm willing to take a booze vacation. I'm happy to do so. I don't even like drinking that much. However, it's how I'd go about my business and my job." How can we reframe that a little bit? And what does it look like when we take that booze vacation and can still execute?
Yeah. And those are all, fine objections. And I think, the long and short of it is when you're regularly drinking, you have this operating system and your brain is frazzled and you're in negative states a lot. And so when you do drink it, you do feel better. And so it is kind of a proven, methodology. And yeah, you've closed some good deals on it and all this. And so I think a lot of people get in their heads and they talk themselves out of it. But, as far as, you know, it's all sounds fine and good what I'm saying, but really, and I hate to use this word because it sounds kind of dull, but there's really just a lack of education and awareness around kind of connecting the dots to what you want and what you don't want and what you have right now. Like every dude I know in their 30s has pre-disease symptoms. They have belly fat. It could indicate a fatty liver, probably some bad blood work, some higher blood pressure. There's no way in hell they're sleeping well, which is a cornerstone of health. So just anybody that's regularly drinking, they're going to have pre-disease symptoms, and that's going to lead to performance and quality of life issues. And then it could lead to more chronic disease states as early as your 40s. It's not like it's going to happen in your 70s, and then that's really tanking your health span and your quality of life. So it's really about like what you want and how long you want to keep it and kind of sorting that out. And hopefully you want it a lot and you want to keep it for as long as humanly possible. And you're not going to be able to do that if you're playing dumb with your alcohol use and your health. And so it's really, to see the lines in the matrix, you really kind of start connecting the dots on where you're at now. And again, people are busy. They're skipping, doc wants to give him a pill. Okay, I'm not going to return his call. Screw him. I'm going to go dark on him. Like people don't want to hear what they don't want to hear. But at some point you kind of have to, if you want to still be that kid that you identify with, you got to kind of do a little adulting and kind of do some little housekeeping. Especially, like I said, I think when your head's been down and you've built this empire and you got this family and this nice house, and it's kind of like it's time to, we have to realize is like what got you to that level of success is not what's going to keep you there, and it's not going to what's going to help you enjoy it. I mean, you can have a big pile of money and start going down in a painful whimper with a bunch of chronic disease and a bunch of health bills, and then you're not as attractive to your partner, and then you got relationship problems. And so it's really predictive, and I think guys, they spin the wrong plates, and if you build your empire at the expense of your health, you just wasted a lot of time.
What is, I guess, I won't say you,
but there's a lot of education and awareness. So you know what you're doing. You're going to know how long you're going to go. You're going to have your goals set. And then it's really, kind of burning your ships. And then all these objections are going to come up. Oh, I got this wedding. Oh, I got this a client that loves to drink with me, and, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, get a little temporarily awkward. You'll figure it out. Parties in business are about the people. You're going to be looking a lot fresher and clearer and better, and you'll figure it out. And guys will talk shit and you'll talk shit back and whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like, it's ultimately, you're advocating for you're in your own business and you're not in the business of others. So you got to do it. You got to take care of yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, then how are you supposed to take care of people around you? So you really kind of maybe be a little bit of an asshole in a way, but you got to self-advocate and you got to get what's yours and go for it and go against the grain. And if you want to be a sheep, then, there's not safety in numbers with this, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, 100%. And listen, it's a form of leadership as well. When you're the one setting the boundaries, you're doing what's important to you. You're showing other people how to treat you and how to treat themselves, because there are people who are going to be envious of your decision to do the healthy thing. I've done my detoxes. I've gone to the bar with friends, taking shots of water, drinking a water bottle while still crushing it on the dance floor, by the way. And you could still be the life of the party. My wife and I did 75 hard. We attended 2 weddings. Clifford, they had me sitting by the dessert table. Do you know how tempting those cupcakes are when you're on 75 hard at a wedding and everybody's drinking and you're sitting and you could smell the dessert table?
That's messed up.
That is willpower if I have never exercised it before. But to your point, the ability to sit in those situations and still stick to your commitments is a form of leadership, and is masculine leadership to those around you who, quite frankly, don't have the balls to make those decisions for themselves. And that is what, in essence, could inspire those around you to then take the same steps. So getting into Booze Vacation, the protocol, you finish your year-long practice, you've coined the name Booze Vacation, your friends that you've kind of been poking and telling them, hey, come on now. Now this is a business that has its own legs, which means you're working with other men who see the value in this. And it usually starts with our own testimony that leads, or our own test that becomes our testimony. What does that protocol look like? Who was the first friend that says, okay, Clifford, let's go for it? And how do you take them from the decision of I'll do this to actually going ahead and taking that booze vacation?
Yeah. And yeah, it's a lot of pestering and talking shit. And, and again, I think it's tricky because the average dude, you're like, hey dude, I'm doing great. I don't drink that much. Like, lay off. Like, how am I supposed to watch the Niners and not have my Coors Light? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, it's a harmless social pleasantry. They don't connect the dots. And so, yeah, kind of just like browbeat them. And yeah, I've roped in, we've roped in hundreds of good dudes by now. But yeah, the first couple were, they were already studs, and that's the thing. Like I said, I think a lot of top performers get good at, they're still top performers, but it's kind of at the expense of their health, and they're maybe at about 65%. So you get a top performer to 100% and they're like, holy shit, this is killer. I'm into it. And so, yeah, it just really, it kind of, again, it depends on where they start. So my one buddy was in good shape, but I've had buddies at least, this guy's 6'5", but he lost 70 pounds. He's like one of the biggest wealth planners in Silicon Valley, private wealth planners in Silicon Valley. And, again, a lot of these guys are relatively healthy. They're watching what they eat. They're not drinking that much. But, when you kind of dysregulated your body, you start getting older, a lot of these complex systems do get stuck. And so we're pretty good at getting them unstuck. And we know exactly how alcohol is going to dysregulate these systems. We know exactly how dudes roll when it comes to just at work and in social lives and at concerts and tailgating. And so we know what's up. We know, what's going to go downhill and how to kind of get it back on track. But yeah, we have a bunch of testimonials on our website, a bunch of just random dudes in Ireland and the UK and all over the place have done it. But it's really the secret of it is just letting guys know that this is not a dumb idea. And even though you're not an alcoholic and you have your shit together, it's still a very good idea. And guess what? A lot of people wind up really liking, looking, feeling, and screwing better than they have in a decade, and playing better sports. And there's still a ton of flexibility, and you can still kind of, choose your own adventure however you want, but not giving it a try and accelerating age and disease and drama and bullshit is a little dumb, especially if you get one life to live and you live it to the max.
Yeah, we laid out enough evidence at the beginning. I'm not going to quote any more research studies, fellas, I promise you, but you can go ahead and rewind if you're looking for more of that evidence. I take a booze vacation. I go 6 months, 12 months, whatnot. I feel the advantages, and I'm screwing better. I'm performing better at work. I'm sleeping better. I'm crushing it on all levels. I'm in my 40s and I'm dunking on the 17-year-olds at the basketball court. What does life after a booze vacation look like? Am I back to drinking normally with these advantages? Am I drinking once a month? Like, what does my life look like moving forward after my booze vacation? And I'm sure it's different for many people, but just maybe a general outlook.
Yeah. And I'll use myself as a guinea pig. So I took a year off, and yeah, like after that, I was like, okay, I was just kind of intrigued and, kind of the guinea pig. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a couple beers, on the weekends. and, like one or two, but so I really kind of wasn't like, again, you get into your like 50s and it's like, you have tolerance in age, and it's like there's really not a lot of return on the investment. But yeah, I kind of monkeyed with it, and then maybe after 6 months there was a couple nights I was doing three bears. I was kind of like, okay, I want to reset this again, so I took another break, and kind of basically the longer you go away and the more gains you stack, the less you drink long term. And so it's really not about making any lifetime declarations or calling out shots. It's literally just like, it's a reset, give it a go, see what happens, and roll how you want to roll. But what you're going to find after a long break, like a 6 or 12-month break, alcohol works really well when you're regularly drinking it, and then when you stop, it stops working. So you have to kind of turn that machinery back on. And there's a lot of epiphanies when you're kind of like having your first couple drinks and you're not getting a lot out of it, and you wake up and you like feel like hell, and you haven't felt like that in like 6 months. You're like, what the hell did I do, and what was that all about? And I'm kind of moping around that day. And so again, the rat hole is really, it goes deep and you don't realize it. Like I said, I think you think that, I went big on the weekend and I'll drag ass on Sunday and I'll be okay. It's like, no, you're going to be dragging ass all week and unproductive and stressed. And then guess what? The weekend rolls around, you're going to want to repeat that, so there's so many subtle negative loops that you get stuck in. So you learn how to be social without it. You learn how to restore your health, and then you kind of choose your own adventure from there. Like I said, there's other substances if you're not looking for, get out of your head once in a while. I certainly want to, like, I don't want to be in my crazy head all the time, but you kind of just learn different protocols, whether it's cold exposure or, kind of breath work. There's all kinds of stuff you could do. So it's just fun to kind of like, be the master of your domain and do what's best for you and still have plenty of flexibility.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then in keeping that health top of mind, right? You're choosing to quote unquote cope with the demons in your head in a different way. The meditation, the breath work, all those things that will help you navigate some of those stressful and those hard to endure moments of life, which is typically when we tend to lean on these vices that don't serve us in any positive way. I'm interested to just open it up and ask if there's anything I haven't touched on, haven't asked you about when it comes to the impacts that alcohol or getting away from alcohol might have on our body, our health, and being that, hey, you mentioned multiple times exercising your major, which I want to give you kudos because there's a lot of people who've graduated college and they have not thought about their major ever since. But to still focus on the health and nutrition aspect, use what you've learned, not just in your professional setting, but also throughout life. What did I maybe miss when it comes to the impacts that booze vacation can have for people in a positive light, the impacts negative connotations that alcohol has, or anything like that I might have glossed over?
Yeah, no, I think I talked heaps of shit on alcohol already, so I'm not gonna bang that gong anymore. But like I said, I'd ask guys to check out our website, boozevacation.com. We have a really cool like 2-minute you versus booze quiz where you can kind of quickly assess your, the impact on your sleep and quality of life and your manliness and your health and your mindset. And so I think knowledge is power. And, again, even if now is not the right time, I think it's important for guys to just kind of start connecting the dots on how you show up and how that, how alcohol kind of has a ripple effect on a lot of, how much processed food you're eating, how frequently, your organ health, visceral fat, belly fat, bad blood work, and how you can really impact that very quickly and very easily by, kind of putting down one thing and picking up 100. So I think, we're not pointing fingers, we're not pushing sobriety, there's flexibility, but I will tell you, plenty of dudes that don't have a drinking problem wound up going out with a bunch of different problems that they didn't know they signed up for. And we're not cool with that. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. And we're getting great results. And we're having a lot of fun. And yeah, so definitely check us out. And we really appreciate the time to talk some shit with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And outside of the website, what are the best links for folks to connect with you? If the website is just one resource, any social media pages, things that people should check out?
We got a pretty active TikTok and I'm on LinkedIn, but yeah, probably the website. The website's really well done. We got a ton of killer free resources. We have a bunch of stuff. You could take a free vacation. We have one-on-one coaching. We have quick win challenges where you can kind of take a 1 week challenge doing different things. But yeah, just kind of get educated. And a lot of the stuff is going to be pretty hard to unsee. And you're going to kind of start connecting the dots and going, oh man, that's what, like I said, I went big this weekend and now I'm going big this weekend. And that's kind of what Clifford was talking shit on. And so there's a lot of predictive stuff that I don't think guys, really pay attention to. It's probably kind of sorted by design, but it's very predictive and it's nothing good. And so it's definitely worth giving it a try and seeing what you think.
Yeah. Last two questions. One of which is, what is the most, you mentioned some things that are hard to see. What is the most, uh, I guess, heart stopping, jaw dropping thing that you've seen, either negative or positive, from the impacts of alcohol or the impacts of a booze vacation? Something that's going to be just an anchor, like, whoa, that sticks out in your memory.
Honestly, I think just me toiling, for a solid 10 plus years, really trying to leverage, like I said, I had plenty of resources and I put a lot of time and effort in all these healthy protocols so I can kind of like have my beer and drink it too. And it was such a slog. I worked so hard on it. And it was so tricky to figure out, like I said, and I had a degree and I had a decent brain before I kind of kicked the shit out of it for decades. But it was so hard for me to like get my brain around, even though it's a temporary break, it was really tricky, but then everything just really opened up and it was just so impactful. So that was just such a gift that I received that I really wanted to share it. And so, yeah, it's been a really fun kind of journey and marketing endeavor. But yeah, no, and then the other thing about, everybody knows, alcohol and, liver failure and wrapping your car around a tree and, doing stupid shit and getting your marriage in trouble and all that. But I think what, my message for dudes is, like I said, like anybody that's trying to be happy and healthy and productive and look and feel good and screw good, like you're just really taxing a lot of systems. You're already aging. You're not going to be able to address any wear and tear that you've picked up along the way with regular alcohol use. So it's just really taxing the systems, and that exponentially stacks up. And then you get to the point of no return. And unfortunately that could easily happen in your 40s and 50s. And so, and then it's not game over, but it's a whole different game and it's not any fun and it's a bummer. And so, yeah, we think our game's better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Clifford, man, last question. It's usually the heaviest one, which is why I save it for last. What is something you've seen or something that's happened to you that shapes the way you view the world as a man?
Whoa. I don't know. This is the random one, but I was on the BART train going into Oakland, and I heard this like weird kind of crazy scream and then a thump, and this dude like jumped in front of a train and saw the reactions on the side of the thing. I don't know. Life's fragile. Be kind. A lot of people, everybody's fighting their own personal battles. So, be kind where you can, and try to give and try to, kind of have that good positive energy and good intent, because yeah, it's tough out there, and, let's try to help each other along the way.
Amen. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, sharing your journey, your experience. Consultant and founder of Booze Vacation, Clifford Stephan, joining us on the show. Thank you, brother.
Hey, thank you, Ted. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm going to share some of the gems you left along the way really quick for anybody that might be driving, working out while listening. If you're on your way to happy hour, maybe consider getting one of the mocktails instead of the cocktails. But alcohol lied to me. Check out the ebook. He mentioned it a couple times. Do you remember the author of that ebook?
I do. Craig Beck.
Yeah.
Alcohol. Yeah. I like it a lot on Audible because he's speaking it. He's like a broadcaster. He's like a British dude. So he's got a cool accent, but yeah, he's super, super compelling.
I like that. I'm an audiobook listener myself. So if you're someone who drinks casually, recreationally, for work, or you're in that boat where you say you don't have a problem, perhaps checking out the ebook could be an eye opener to make you reconsider your relationship with alcohol. Micro decisions on diet and lifestyle. We make those decisions each and every single day. You might have your routine locked in, but for some reason, these aches and pains still come up. You're starting to get into your 40s. You're not performing like you used to. Maybe it's time to look at other areas of life. If you're going to the doctor, they're prescribing prescriptions and you're just going to pick up those prescriptions, maybe you're a sucker. At 28 years old, I had a doctor tell me I had to be on aspirin for the rest of my life. I did not choose to do the aspirin. I chose to make lifestyle changes, and now the aspirin's no longer necessary. Identity and nostalgia. Are you holding on to that alcohol because you believe it is who you are? You are more than that cup. You are more than that bottle, and you are more than that cocktail and that drink at the end of the day. Are you playing defense? Playing defense in terms of you don't want to be in an environment where you have to explain your reasoning for not drinking. Playing defense because you don't want to have to sit in the silence of your actual thoughts and find a healthier way to cope with the demons that are plaguing you at night. Regular drinking isn't serving you. The evidence has been shared on this and many other podcasts. And this is not a dumb idea. Taking a break from alcohol has never sounded like a dumb idea to me and my friends. It shouldn't sound like a dumb idea to you. Sure, there are a lot of opportunities, whether it's the game, the wedding, the happy hour, or the celebration that you want to indulge into. We're not telling you that you can't drink. We're just giving you the realities of what drinking is doing to your health. And a taste of the poison becomes more abundant, more potent in absence. Once you spend some time away from alcohol and you start drinking it again, you'll get a better idea on what it's actually doing to you. And then you can make an educated decision into if you want to keep serving yourself that poison or not. And as Clifford and I said, we're not telling you not to do it. Autonomy is yours, fellas. Make sure you have the support you need. You have the community that you need. And if you're looking for one, I encourage you to check out The Noble Nicety, because we could talk more about not just alcohol consumption, but everything in life. If you are looking for help, maybe taking a booze vacation yourself, be sure to reach out to Clifford. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share this episode with somebody else in your life you know can get value from it. Perhaps someone in your life that should take a booze vacation. Clifford and I don't mind being the asshole friend. You need those friends that'll go and poke you and keep you accountable and keep you healthy. So you could be that friend by hitting that share button and giving us a great compliment, and leave us a rating to let us know how we're doing. We appreciate you guys for making it to the end. And as we always say, everybody wants the sunshine, but they don't want the rain. But you can't get the pleasure without first the pain. Let's grow.